Iran wants Donald Trump dead. This isn't just a headline. It's a strategic move that turns your city into a potential front line. But the real reason for these public threats isn't what you've been told. By the end of this video, you will see the hidden power structure that makes this threat terrifyingly real. And it all starts with a single drone strike.
Fast-paced cuts. January 3, 2020. A U.S. drone strike kills Qasem Soleimani, Iran's most powerful general, at Baghdad International Airport. The world holds its breath, expecting all-out war. The war never came, not in the way we expected. Instead, we get this. Headlines of Iranian officials and clerics calling for the assassination of Donald Trump and other U.S. officials. An $80 million bounty. Public vows for hard revenge. Just recently, a senior cleric linked to the supreme leader called for the deaths of Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. It's easy to dismiss this as angry rhetoric, propaganda for a domestic audience. That's what most of Washington does. But here's the question that changes everything. What if this isn't just talk? What if it's an operational command, broadcast in plain sight? Because while we see it as a headline, a global network of trained operatives sees it as a green light. And to understand how that network operates, you have to understand who's really in charge in Iran.
In the West, we think of power in terms of presidents and parliaments. In Iran, the real power isn't the elected government. It's a deep state run by the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, and enforced by his Praetorian Guard, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC. The IRGC isn't just a military, it's a multi-billion-dollar business empire, an intelligence agency, and the master of Iran's foreign policy. And its primary foreign policy tool is something called the Axis of Resistance, a sophisticated, decentralized network of proxy militias across the Middle East. Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, various militias in Iraq and Syria. These aren't just allies, they are extensions of the IRGC's will. Iran funds them, trains them, and arms them. When a high-ranking cleric, hand-picked by the Supreme Leader's office, calls for an assassination, it isn't a suggestion. It's a mission statement directed at this network. But here's the catch. The network isn't just in the Middle East. It has a global reach, and its strategy has evolved beyond car bombs and kidnappings.
This is a new kind of warfare. It's not state on state. It's asymmetric, low-cost, deniable, and psychologically devastating. The goal isn't just to eliminate a target. It's to create chaos and fear inside your borders. The Salman Rushdie case from decades ago was the blueprint. A fatwa, a religious edict, was issued, and years later, a lone attacker, inspired by the call, nearly killed him on U.S. soil. Now, that model is being supercharged. Iran's intelligence services have been caught plotting to kidnap and assassinate journalists and activists in New York, London, and Paris. In 2023, the head of the FBI, Christopher Wray, confirmed that the IRGC is actively plotting operations inside the United States. This isn't theoretical. The call to kill Trump or Netanyahu isn't a direct order for a complex state-sponsored hit. That's too risky. It's about activating two groups: the highly trained but deniable foreign proxy cell and the lone wolf, the radicalized individual who sees the call as a religious duty. It outsources the risk. If the attacker is caught, Iran has plausible deniability. It wasn't us,
It was a lone extremist. But the message is sent. We can reach you anywhere. And this has a very specific impact on your life, even if you're not the target. So what does this mean for you in your daily life? First, your safety. Security agencies in the US, UK, and Europe now have to treat this as a credible, persistent threat. This means billions of dollars diverted to tracking potential Iranian assets and lone wolves. It means more surveillance. It means the Secret Service protection for a former president becomes a permanent, wartime-level operation paid for by your tax dollars. Second, it weaponizes our own politics. The threat against a figure as polarizing as Donald Trump pours gasoline on an already raging political fire. It forces his opponents into a position of defending him, while his supporters see it as proof that the world is against them. Iran isn't just trying to kill a person, it's trying to break a society. By making a former leader a target, they make his political movement a target, turning domestic polarization into a national security vulnerability that can be exploited at will. Finally, it sets a terrifying new precedent. If a state can openly call for the assassination of a former leader of another country and activate a global network to try and carry it out with few repercussions, what's to stop other countries from doing the same? This erodes the very foundations of international order and diplomacy. The line between war and peace, between rhetoric and action, is being deliberately blurred. So, is dismissing these public assassination calls as just talk a dangerous fantasy that puts us all at risk? This isn't just a news story about a threat to a former president. It's a look at the playbook of 21st century warfare, where headlines are weapons and proxy networks can turn a cleric's words in Tehran into a potential attack in your country. The power structure isn't a government, it's a decentralized network activated by a signal. If you want to keep decoding the forces that truly shape our world, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss an upload. Next week, we're investigating the real reason China is buying up ports around the world and how it's creating a string of pearls that could choke off global trade. The power behind the headline. The world decoded.